All right. So, taking a little break from the cabin stove. I'll probably post a little short up on what's going on with that. Have a little bit of a detour, but in the meantime, we're going to do something new, different, and exciting, which instead of rehashing the same thing over and over again, we're going to play with this little dude here. So this is a 1953 Coleman military stove, and it has the cooking pot that comes with it, and you don't really see these very often. The one thing it is missing is it's missing the legs or the arms that come out here for cooking purposes. So I just got this the previous weekend at a antique fair, and I am going to try to see if we can't just get this lit up and going without knowing a whole lot about it. So I believe this is a Coleman 521, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure I'll have it fixed in the title of the video anyway. So first step here, I know that this isn't pumping, so what we're going to do is, while we are doing other things, we are going to pull this pump out of here, and we're going to get the pump leather soaking in some neat's foot oil here. I can hear a little bit of stuff rolling around inside, but honestly, this is very, very clean. I mean, we're talking really clean. I mean, there's just almost nothing on it. A little bit of maybe some cutting compound, and this thing will polish up like new. So it'll be interesting to see how it all kind of comes together here. So yeah, it's really pretty impressive. So definitely has been used, but at any rate, so that's that. This comes out nice. Leather's actually in good shape. It's just dry. I mean, you can kind of see that there. So we'll just pop this in the neat's foot oil here and let it soak while we're doing our other things. Let's see. Next up is going to be cap gasket, which this is really on there. So let me get a little bit of leather to wrap around this, and then we'll get some pliers. Just a minute. Or two. I guess we'll use these. Try this without applying any heat first, just to kind of see what kind of mood it's in. Okay. So there she goes. Just a little bit stiff, but that's okay. Probably should crack the screw loose here, because I am virtually guaranteed that we're going to have to replace this cap gasket. So okay, and that's coming loose in there, so we'll just get this the rest of the way off, and then we'll have to hold that down. Oh no, we're gonna have to crank this down a bit so we can get it to hold the inner piece. Boy, I didn't want to just jump back on there, does it? All right, used a new mic, wireless mic, pretty exciting. So we'll see if the sound quality on this is good enough for everyone here. I should have unscrewed the screw earlier. There she goes. That feels like success. Get my little parts tray here before I lose track of all my pieces. So, cap screw, 2 pump screws. Get the cap off of here. Well, this is nice since we're not having to fight this too much, but yeah, that cap gasket is absolutely gone. There is nothing left of it there, so we'll get that taken care of really quick. These one thing I didn't think of here is, I don't know if I've got my real small funnel, so it might be a bit of a challenge to fuel this, but I can use my RC car fuel bottle. With these, sometimes I like to polish them up a little bit with some steel wool, just to bring a little bit of shine back to it, and that way we'll know we got a good sealing surface. And hopefully I'm not throwing too much steel into the tank. And if we are, we just kind of roll this little magnetic steel fetcher in there to pick up any strays. A lot of these are on the outside, but yeah, there's a few, so that's all right. So next up, cap gasket. So we take out our trusty brick and set this on here. Need to get some water because this is going to be hot stuff. So this is just my the usual one I use for dumping these cap gaskets in because they're, you can see how much debris is in there from them. So we're just going to torch the fire out of it. Yeah, you can really see the rubber growing. It's almost like a magic snake kind of thing. And there you go. Look at that. That's really coming out now. And when the brick glows, you're probably done, right? So, okay, we'll get my pliers here, knocking everything off in the process, and throw this in here for a quick one of those. Just gotta find it. There she is. Throwing it into that water like that really helps blow off all of the rubber and everything else. And you can see it's perfectly cool to the touch. And it's also almost perfectly cleaned in just seconds. Look at that. She's just ready for the new gasket. So get some of our Bassnets gaskets here. And I need a number 1, which is this. Bassnets is a great supplier of some of these hard to find things. Well, these aren't that hard to find, but Enoch does a great job with these, and he's in Corsicana. That's where we have our meet. He supports us, so I like to support him. So look him up. Yeah, DJ Bassnet in Corsicana, Texas. All right, so gonna get this little guy on here. Yeah, you wonder, people getting these like, oh man, we'll never, you know, when they find these, they probably say, oh man, you'll never be able to find another gasket or something like that for this. And yeah, lo and behold, you do. Clean this up just a tiny bit here. I wish I had some, that's a little bit of solvent, maybe a little bit of brake cleaner. Try not to spray it into my eyes because it's always under high pressure. I like brake cleaner because it dries without residue and it works pretty fast. So there you go. And that's pretty much all that fuel residue gone. All right, so that back in there. This here, what we're going to do with this, we're going to brush these threads a little bit just so it'll be easier to assemble. Sure hope this windscreen on here is working because I got my little swamp cooler running. It's still warm here. It's well, you can see right there, 85 or 82, depending on which sensor you trust, but it's pretty warm. All right, I'm gonna have to do this a little bit differently because I've got to screw that in, get this retainer here, and then screw that. So it's like that. So you can usually tell all the military pieces because they always have a retainer for the fuel cap so you don't lose it. So, all right, I think tighten that down some so this will have something to fight against. Okay, feels pretty good. So fuel cap is remedied. Everything's kind of polished up and looking reasonably clean. That one side doesn't look as clean as I'd like it to be. So let's give it a little bit more something. Yep, did a good job just pulling everything in there. Should have done what I did before. Use the magnet to pull it out because it all fits right in there. Right, okay. So that is that sorted. let's see what we can do with the pump. So the pump should be, well, very, very, very oily because, of course, everything slid in there. I like this immersion method of getting these things back in working order because it really gets to all the parts, so that way you're not just getting the outside. And then, oh man, is that cracked? No, it's not. Felt like it though. It might be. Well, we're just going to give it a little stretch. Then we're going to stick it back in here, and we're just going to hope for the best. Right. So let's see what happens. Okay. Get our screws lined up. Recap this because I don't want to have a giant mess. Okay, that's very nice. Plenty of pressure. So that's good. We're just ripping right along here, folks. So we'll get, maybe I'll move my hot brick out of the way. And you don't need to have special fire brick or anything like that. Just any old brick will do. You're not going to subject it to extreme stress. So it'll glow a little bit red, but it'll be fine. You won't have any problems. Now the next issue is seeing how everything moves, and I know from checking in the field that I've got this not wanting to move, and that I've got the tip cleaner not wanting to move. But generally speaking, those aren't real major problems because you can just go ahead and apply a little bit of heat to them, and they'll start to loosen up. So with this, yeah, she's pretty tight, and it's kind of a closed-in area. So instead of heating up the valve and the plastic, I'm just going to go ahead and pull this knob off so we don't melt it, and that way we can heat this without worrying about damaging the plastic. And I'm going to use my little butane torch here, and we're going to apply heat to the valve stem itself, because that's what that heat needs to travel in there, because it's between the valve stem and the graphite packing that is froze up. Woohoo! Don't want to do it super hot. You just need to give it some heat and some time to get in there. And what I'm saying, time to get in there, is that you want to have that heat travel down the metal part of the stem, and sometimes it takes a little bit. So we'll see what happens here. Okay, my little flat ones here. No, not a lot of motion there. You can see where there's some a little bit of steel wool that's on my pliers, obviously, and so yeah, they're a little. Oh, there she goes. Just loosened right up. So it still feels a little gummy, but that's okay. Once we get this thing with some fuel in it, it'll loosen up. So we're going to apply a little bit more heat to this, and this has got a metal insert, so it won't hurt this, but it'll also allow me to apply some torque to it. Yeah, not wanting to go. Needs more heat. So you can see I'm keeping this blue pinpoint away from the metal. That's the hottest part of the flame, so I'm keeping it pretty far away. You don't want to do that. You want to keep it out like this, and that way you're not really baking the heck out of it. Okay. So you heat for a little while, try for a little while. Wow. Really in there. So we'll continue to do that. Then we'll check the temperature of this by a little bit of water, and it is bubbling, so it's quite warm. We'll just heat the rest of the this packing nut up on the outside too. But you can see why you don't want to really leave that knob on there, because you can melt that plastic, because there's just not very much room to get in there. It's pretty close because it's got to fit all underneath this little cap when you put it underneath. All right, come on. Oh, boy. Yeah, that's really stuck in there pretty good. Okay. I know also what you can do is that you can also try unloosening the packing nuts. I don't know if for whatever reason they're packing nuts. I don't have a wrench. It's always too big or too small. It's definitely the wrong size. Although I have experienced using the box end and having that fit just like this. So, okay, so this this was very easy to turn. We may just take this off and see what we can see in here. We might be able to apply the heat a little closer. You can see right here where that packing is starting to squirt out a little bit. But right inside here, this is where that heat needs to be to get this thing loose. So this might help us a little bit getting a little more heat to it. No dice. I'm gonna keep heating. Eventually we'll break it free. I'm just surprised it's taken this much, because usually it doesn't take this much. They loosen up pretty good. But all that packing is back in here, so we've got quite a bit of heavy metal that we've We've got a significant amount of metal that we have to heat up to get it loose here. So we'll see. There she goes. That's it. Now she's loose. We don't want to loosen it too much because that's going to mess with the packing. So it's just a matter of heat and patience. You know, you don't want to put a whole lot of heat, but you got to wait for that heat to transmit through that valve to be able to get it to work. So we're going to go ahead and see how this feels. I think all I'm going to do with this is that I'm going to put just a little bit of pressure on it, like that. You don't need to put a lot of pressure on that packing, otherwise you'll never be able to turn the valve, right? So that feels pretty snug, and I think we'll be good with that. So we'll go ahead and get this cap back up. So send that home. Go. Works like it's supposed to. Works like it's supposed to. Now we can see if we get a little bit of air coming through here. So hopefully we do. I almost can't imagine why we wouldn't, because this thing does look relatively unused, but we'll see what happens. Well, first of all, nice to know that the pump pumps air in and we're not having a problem with a plug pump tube. That's good. Probably plenty. Oh yeah, check valve has got a little bit of a leak. You can see I'm just barely holding on it, so it's pushing it right back out. But it's good enough for now. Let's see if we get air here. Oh yeah, we definitely get air coming out. I'll probably pull this check valve at some point, but for right now, this is when you have a check valve that leaks like that, it does make it a little bit harder to pump, but you can always, oh yeah, we got lots of air in there, so no worries. You can always, just when you pump it in, just screw it down as fast as you can, prevent that check valve from leaking anything out. This is how I was going to try to fill this thing, because it's a smaller hole. Of course, it is absolutely filled with all sorts of garbage. That's not good. Tiny funnel, anyone? There's got to be one around here somewhere. There she is. All right, all is good. So what we're going to do is that we're going to fill with a known quantity of fuel, so we won't overfill it, but we'll have enough in there. We'll probably put 400 mils in here and see where that takes us. I'm going to be using the using Coleman fuel for this because here we can see parts and pieces of the cabin stove and various stages of paint. My stash of Coleman fuel here. There we go. All right. So, yeah, these when they start are very flamey. So, yeah, I don't want to set my shop on fire. So hopefully we won't. Not sure what this is, but I don't want it in the tank, so we're going to scrape that off real quick. Nice 200 mils. Give it a little bit more. That's probably good enough. Should be definitely enough to get us in trouble. All right. Yeah, this one will definitely run on gasoline also, but since there's limited availability of generators, although it looks like this one, this part right here, oops, I thought that was hot, I guess not. This one appears to have a backup generator right there. Oh, looks like it's been used. So that one might need to, we might need to see. So it does have some time on it there. So that's interesting enough. So, right. Yeah. So let's go ahead and put this in here. Now, looking at the lighting instructions, it says spin the lever around it to clear it. You can use the lever to throttle a flame. Open quarter, turn to the left and light. When the flame burns blue, after about 3 to 5 minutes, open as far as possible. So use leaded or white gas, white preferably for safety. So basically you pump it, 25 to 30 strokes. So we'll do that. Okay, that's about 30-ish. We're going to get this as my lighter here. We're going to open this a quarter turn. Oh, yeah. That's how they start. Oh, darn. Oops. There we go. That's looking pretty good. All the way open on the valve. That seems really loose now. So we're going to give it a snug this up some. Oh yeah, too loose. Set it off. Fuel everywhere. Step back. You can blow that out. Would be great. Doesn't look like it's happening. Maybe we'll shut it off this, not so much. Yeah, you can see right here, you got fuel. So I don't want to have that catch, which is bad. Shades of one of my other videos. Yikes. I think I've got actually a handy dandy wrench that may work from this. Nope, maybe not. Yeah, it's just not very easy to get in there. Maybe one of these work. Yeah, it's just kind of dripping fuel at the moment, which I don't like very much. But that feels better. Ow. Yeah, just not a very good fit on this this wrench here, which is about as cheesy as they come, but it's not leaking now, so that's good. Yeah, this is all dry. So yeah, you got to really watch that when you have these new ones and you loosen that packing up to get enough get enough force back on them. See if I can get a little bit more on it with this. Huh, that's kind of weird. Put that on there and it certainly didn't like it. Oh well. Ow. Well, I can see yet another spot in there that's there's some fuel down where that generator didn't get tightened enough, I think. Yeah, generator didn't get tight enough. It needs to be a 1/2 inch. Let's see. This 9/16, this is 1/2 inch. Well, why didn't that fit earlier? I don't understand. Well, I think this is, I don't think this is very accurate because this 9/16, I don't know why this doesn't want to fit on this end. But this definitely needs to get tightened up in here. Yeah. Well, anyway, that's the idea. That's what it should be doing. So, boy, that little generator tip cleaner gets awful hot. But yeah, we can shut that off. But that is how it's supposed to work. And I just got to tighten that generator to avoid any problems. But hey, until next time, keep them lit.